but I think I'll just jump into it. And we'll see who joins the party. All right. There's always a bit of a lag time before people join up. So when you do join, say hi from wherever you happen to be in the world. That's the usual thing. Also, let me know. Test, 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 test. Can you guys hear me? How's the sound quality? Is it clear enough? Can you hear me? Let me know. Hope everything is well. My name is Steph. And so I'm going to jump into the question within a few seconds here. I'm just waiting for some people to jump on board. Right now, it's just me and somebody else. So somebody asked me a good question. Will AI actually create new developer jobs? I think it will. I think it will. I think there's actually a lot of positive activity there. And I'm going to give you some other perspective as well, based on my decades of experience in the game. So let's do a little bookkeeping while I'm here. So you see here, we do have a Discord channel. It's got a few thousand people, so I invite you to join. Link below. So it's pretty active. So here's the introductions, media. As you can see, there's a lot of activity here. The Discord channel is basically for developers, aspiring developers. I invite you to check that out. Let me know in the comments if you can hear me, by the way. I would appreciate that. Just waiting for some response there. So yeah, that's the Discord. Not bad, not bad. So, everything is well. Yeah. So, how many people are we now? Let's see, we got 14 people. So we're just starting out. I think it will fill up as I'm a little early on the broadcast. I just felt like it. Anywho, so what can I tell you? I'm just waiting for a few more people to get on. And then once we get a few more people, then I'll jump into the subject. If you can, let me know in the comments that the sound is clear. Ruby, is the sound clear? Let me know. I would create developer jobs as opposed to take them. So I did a video recently where I talked about how AI hit the scene in 2022, so 2 years ago, November. And since then, we've seen a lot more tech jobs. So the tech industry, I believe in 2022, in North America had, well, US had 9,160,000 jobs, according to US government. And now there's 9.9 million tech jobs. So despite the hello, can you hear me now? Oh, man, all that chatter. Whoa. Let me know if you can hear me now. Yeah, damn. Hold on a second. I think it was on mute. Hold on. Can you hear me now? Testing. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me now? Let me know. Yeah, I'm going to wait until I get a response. Can't hear you. Really? Can't hear me. So nobody can hear me right now? Oh, we are good now. Okay, we can hear you. Okay, good. All right, appreciate it. Thanks. Little technical difficulty. User error. Okay, cool. We can hear you. Good. Well, thanks for joining the stream. Welcome, Code Long and Profit.
Take care.
And good. So, let me know where you guys are watching from. So, say, Michael Nabuka from where? Genghis Khan from where? Yes, it's all good. All right, good. So we got some volume now. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into subject at hand, and then we'll do a little Q&A. So somebody asked me recently, said, will AI create jobs? Or is an opportunity for jobs to be created because of AI rather than killing jobs? So point number one, AI hit the scene big in 2022 November, literally 2 years ago. And since then, we had, in 2022, there was about 9,160,000 tech jobs in the U.S. And last data I checked in 2023, there was 9,900,000 jobs. So we've seen quite a few more new tech jobs in the space. So evidently, AI has not killed the tech sector. Okay, so that's number one. Long story short, I believe AI will actually create new jobs. We're going to see new jobs created that would not have existed before within the tech space because of AI. Why is that the case? The reason that's the case is because with AI, with its capability, all of a sudden there's going to be a lot of new applications that could not be done before, right? So just like when the web stack became a thing, all of a sudden a bunch of companies who wouldn't have needed software development before because of web stack, which was a huge revolution in the 90s, it changed software. Because of the web stack, a whole bunch of new types of applications could be developed that were not possible or were not needed before. So with the advent of AI, we're seeing a bunch of new potential applications that a lot of companies may need that they wouldn't have needed a software prior to that. So yeah, there are going to be certain jobs that will be marginalized or shrunk in the tech space because of AI, but it will create a brand new set of jobs, a set of roles, a set of different types of developers that did not exist before, that will now exist. And I have friends who are actually in that space. So I have a friend of mine who has a consulting business, and his whole business is about implementing AI for companies. This is without AI, he wouldn't have had these contracts, right? He needed the AI as the basis for this application. So he's picking up all these contracts. In fact, he's refusing them now. He's getting too many because simply because he's implementing AI. I hope that makes sense. So AI is actually going to create a lot of jobs, I believe, jobs we had not foreseen before. So that's number one. Number two, it's number three. Number three is I've talked about this before, I have seen in the tech space many more jobs, I've seen a few technologies over the last 30 years that were more fundamentally, what's the word I'm looking for? They had a much greater impact in terms of software development than AI has thus far in the first 2 years. For example, I mentioned the web. When web technology started taking hold in the mid-90s and late 90s, that changed the entire software industry. Prior to the web, small businesses were developing apps with VB5 and VB6, maybe Delphi, C++, thick client development. The whole world was about developing on Windows or on Mac, maybe some Linux as well. That was the world of development prior to the web. When the web hit, all of a sudden a huge number of people started building web apps. This was not done before. So a huge explosion of jobs were created. New type of job. On the flip side, slowly but surely, the thick client programming, the VB6 guys, the VB6 guys, to a lesser extent, I would say the C++ people, their jobs started contracting to a certain extent. There's still plenty of jobs writing C in C++, but the VB6 Visual Basic jobs for thick clients have pretty much disappeared. I'm sure there's a few out there here and there, but That's what it is. That's what it is. So what's another big thing in the tech space that had a bigger impact, that has had a bigger impact than AI has so far? WordPress. When content management systems came out and WordPress took the lead in that whole thing, it started out as a blog and became a full content management system. This had a huge impact in terms of web design, huge impact. And it changed the whole industry. Again, I remember at the time, a lot of people thought that was the end of web design. It's over. Everybody's just going to use a content management system. There'll be no work. The opposite happened. Yes, it shifted what we did. So a lot less static HTML pages and CSS pages were being created, but a lot more robust content management systems-based sites were created. So it just shifted the work. So that was a good question somebody put to me. Again, the original question was, will AI create new jobs? I believe it's going to create a bunch of new job opportunities within tech that have not been possible before. Simply, all these companies, there's going to be a ton of companies that are going to want to implement some aspect of AI, and they're going to need developers for that. Remember, development is partly code, a lot of configuration, a lot of planning and architecture. And so even though, like Google announced recently that about 25% of their code is AI generated now, they still need a ton of coders. So I think they're just shifting the work. We're going to become hyper productive too. We're going to be able to put out product much more quickly than we could previously. I don't know what the productivity increase is going to be. I don't know if it's going to be 20% or 50% more productive. Now, people will say, well, that means if programmers are able to produce a lot more code in their time, they're going to need less programmers. Well, yeah, if it was all things being equal, you could say that. But again, you can't discount the fact that there's going to be a lot more new jobs created. That's it. So, yeah. So that's it in a nutshell. I think that AI will create, and is already starting to create, a whole bunch of new jobs. And there's just going to be a lot of opportunity. So my advice is to get on the AI train, understand it just as a user. Understand how it could speed up your development flows, your development processes. Understand where AI could fit into just basic business practices. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. If you have any questions about this subject or anything else, you let me know. And I will do my best to address it. So let me pause this. So what I want to do, I'm going to do my books for today. I always talk about books. So if you're brand new to development, if you are a total beginner, there's a book for you. It's my book on web design. It teaches the basics of web design, the basics of the full stack, teaches you HTML, CSS, and how the web works. You can get it on Amazon, links below. And it's got lots of images and photos. It really goes deep into the fundamentals of development, makes it all very understandable. So if you like to read, I'm not making money on this book. I got paid my advance years and years ago. I wrote this book a long time ago, to 2015, so it's really old. But guess what? Every single thing that I teach in this book, everything in this book is 100% accurate today, because that's when the web stack became pretty plateaued. There's huge changes between 94 and about 2010. But as over time, the changes, how drastic the changes were, the curves sort of flattened out. And when it hit around 212, 213, it was pretty flat. Like the way we built sites when I wrote this book are very, very similar to what we do today. So anyway, so this is for total beginners. Or you can take my Studioweb courses or my mentoring. So this is the web design start here. Now, if you already know how to code and you want to raise the game, you want to learn to refactor. This is a book on refactoring. This is the Java version. There is a JavaScript version of this book as well. Find the links below. So refactoring, this is a process of improving your code. I recommend that. So yeah, I hope you found this useful. If you did, give me a thumbs up, by the way. I appreciate it. The more thumbs, better for the Google algorithm and so on. And yeah, so how are we doing here? All right, we got 70 people. Yeah, let's get those thumbs up, if you don't mind. We have 70 people, and we only have 11 thumbs. Not good. The thumb to watcher ratio sucks. All right. Yeah, before I get into it, we do have a Discord. Links below. It's pretty active. Thousands of members. It's free. Just join below. Join the Discord. Got all kinds of. It's pretty comprehensive, as you can see here. Project feedback, server suggestion, career advice, general tech. And I mean, there's fun sections, community, music, etc. So I invite you to check that out. The Discord channel is live. It's been around for a little while now, a few years. It's well run. We're all good. Appreciate the thumbs. Welcome to the stream. If you're new here, my name is Uncle Steph. Code Long and Profit. I stole that from Star Trek. All right, let's do some Q&A. Let's do some Q&A. Doom. I realize that you can no longer just get a role as a dev by knowing how to make a React to-do app. Exactly. Those days are over. You now have to actually be good at what you do. Yeah, to do the $10 course and then to walk into a job with the project from that course, it's not going to cut it these days. It's not going to cut it these days. It's the game has changed. Haven't we always had AI? No. AI has only been around a couple of years in terms of commercial use. What's up, Steph? I have your book you mentioned the other day. Any tips or recommend roadmap using your book for a total beginner? Just follow along with the book, read a little bit every day, and start writing code as soon as you feel comfortable, or even before that. The key to learning how to code is to code. You just got to code. Write a little code every day, and you're going to get there more quickly. Yeah. Hi, Steph. I love Laravel, but I don't like the new version. Got released quickly. In 1 to 2 years, you find yourself behind. I don't like the new version get released quickly. In 1 or 2 years, you find yourself behind. Yeah, I can see how that could be an issue. I can see that being an issue. But what are you going to do? Oh, there it is. Been a fan of Steph since I was 15. I'm 19 now. Wow, very cool, Winston. Welcome back to the stream. What are your thoughts on becoming a freelancer and focusing specifically on Shopify e-commerce? Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity there, especially since there might be an e-commerce slowdown with tariffs. Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. I wouldn't be too concerned about that. The tariff thing is misunderstood. Now, he's referring to Trump threatening to use tariffs. It is merely a negotiating tactic. The U.S. is the major market of the world still. And the other countries around the globe are not going to risk losing access to that market. So there might be a few bumps in the road that last a few months, if that much. But I'm almost certain that you won't actually see too many tariffs applied. And the tariffs, they're really applied for big business, big industry. So they might apply tariffs for cars and lumber, like they're doing that with Canada and Canada. So I wouldn't be too concerned about the tariffs. It's just a tactic, that's all. He's just using it to put leverage on people. So you'll be fine. Don't worry about that. Nats Capilli. Hey, Sir Stefan, it's me again. Hey, how are you, man? Does the flow of programming really comes naturally when starting to write code? At start, I was so confused. Does the flow of programming really come naturally? Yeah. When you first start programming, you're going to be having to look up things all the time. You're going to be confused by a lot of things. You're going to be hitting frustrating situations where you're like, why isn't this working? And then you find out it's just a semicolon that's missing, right? So that's normal. But as like anything else in this life, as you practice as you keep working on it, as you keep developing your skill, it will just become easier and easier and easier. So that's just normal. Don't worry about it. Can I learn multiple coding languages at the same time? I want to learn JavaScript and Python. You could, but you'll slow yourself down a little bit. I think you'll go much faster if you pick a language, finish the foundation courses, and then move on to the next. And then the second language will be so much faster. So,
Sorry, I don't understand, but I found something similar.
Hey, Google, cancel. Yeah, it happens to me with the Google. Yeah, so yeah, I recommend check out my my Python and my JavaScript courses on Studioweb. You can buy them individually, and yeah, you'll learn very quickly there. Do you think CodeIgniter will make a comeback since the PHP is making a big comeback? It could. I don't know. I haven't looked at CodeIgniter for years. I know that they've revamped it, as far as I remember. But it could make a comeback. Right now, all the action in PHP world, of course, is with Laravel. So, but it could. But I don't know for certain. I don't know for certain. There we go. Oh, hold on. After 2 weeks of job search, I got a role at a startup because I followed a roadmap. Here's my portfolio. Very cool. Congratulations, Winston. Nice job. There are jobs out there. You just got to learn to present yourself well. That's cool, man. I'm worried about World War III at the moment. Ah, yes. That is a cause for concern. It's hard to say. I think what will happen is because the new president of the U.S. is anti-war, basically, I think what will happen is I think Russia will hold off from escalating since Trump is going to come into office in, a couple months, January. So I think the chance of World War III are very, very slim because of that. But you never know. I got a role at a startup 2 weeks after. Hold on, let me try that again. I got a role at a startup in 2 weeks after I started applying. I think it's because I followed a proven roadmap and had great advice from guys like Uncle Steph. Here's a portfolio to review. All right, cool. I'm glad I could help, man. Good stuff. At some point, you don't really spend much time learning languages. You just go to the docs, learn a few things, and you're set. Yeah, exactly. It's like for my mentoring group and in my code courses, I teach 3 programming languages. I teach JavaScript, Python, and PHP. Once you've done those 3 courses, and I cover the fundamentals a lot. They're very comprehensive. People have told me they're the most comprehensive courses they've ever done. But once you've done those, for you to learn a new language will be pretty easy. It won't be difficult because what you're going to see is these languages, all the modern languages share 90 to 95% of the same principles and techniques. So, a function is a function, whether it's in Java or JavaScript or Python or PHP or Ruby, it doesn't really matter. A function is a function, a variable is a variable, an array is an array. Looping is looping, So yeah, it's once you've learned a few languages, the first language is the hardest, and the rest become much, much, much easier. They come much, much easier. Yeah. If you're new to the stream, I'm Uncle Steph. Welcome, Code Long and Profit. I'm a developer. I've been around writing professional code since 94, 95. And I've done some contract work, lots of freelance work, and I developed SaaSes. I have a SaaS called Studioweb, which is live today. A bunch of schools use it. And I also use it for my own mentoring group, which you can check out at UncleSteph.com. So welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. 76 people. If you can give me some thumbs, appreciate it. If you don't like my hat, give me 2 thumbs down. If you love my hat, give me a thumbs up. All right, so one of the things I introduce old geezer stuff to you guys. So what we're going to get into now is movies. Just 2 movies, very quick, that I recommend if you're into. So this is a movie, it's in Spanish, by a famous director, Guillermo, I'm probably saying Guillermo, and I cannot say his first name properly, but it's Del Toro is the director's name. Cronos, it's in Spanish, but it's a very cool movie if you like sci-fi. So I recommend Cronos by Del Toro. Here it is. Very cool movie. And another cool movie, another foreign film, Japanese, called Seven Samurai, black and white movie by Akira Kurosawa. I think it was done in the 30s. Great film. So I would recommend Seven Samurai. You can probably get it on the web. It may be streaming on Netflix, I don't know. So this is another cool film, black and white. One of the best films ever made. So, and this is a cool sci-fi film, Chronos. I recommend this film as well. Both foreign films, fantastic. All right, we've done the nerd movies of the evening. All right, let's see who's on. Can a junior developer start freelancing and make a little money from it? Thanks again for your great feedbacks. 100%. 100%. When I started freelancing, I had made one website, my own website for my business, and I started freelancing. So yeah, for sure. Why not? I recommend it, in fact. In my mentoring group, people were learning. Once they get past the fundamentals, they get certified, then we have them build a site, and then we have them start freelancing. So yeah, go for it, man. You're going to, by freelancing, A, you're going to make more money, and B, you're going to level up your skill, your game, so much faster than you would otherwise. That's for sure. But Google, Cortana, Siri, Alexa. Yeah. I'm trying to start a web dev business to get experience because I can't land a job without experience. Yeah, that's 100%. The tech apprentice has got the idea. That's what I would suggest. I actually have people do that in my mentoring program. We have them get freelance gigs just to build experience. So for sure, 100%. Joe, how you doing? I gotta get the race salutes. Overeating as well. Code long and profit. Except var and let are not the same. Yes, there's a difference between var, let, and const, but they do. Yeah, I understand, but they get you. They're very similar. Right? They're very similar. So you know. Ron Perlman is in Chronos. Yes, he is actually. Yeah, Ron Perlman. Ron Perlman is a American actor, and I think he did Hellboy as well afterwards. So I guess this is one of his earlier films. So yeah, Ron Perlman, yeah, he's in there. JavaScript is good for freelancing. It is. I think you'll find that freelance is mostly the web. So it's HTML5, CSS3. You're going to see some JavaScript, a lot of PHP, WordPress, some Shopify. That's what dominates the freelance space. And you may start seeing AI implementation come into it as well, believe it or not. I developed several projects under my own business. I'm concerned that recruiters may overlook my applications due to this entrepreneurial experience. I can't get hired. I don't know. I would have to look at other aspects of, you know, how's your resume? How does that look? Is it any good? AI shite is real. Yeah. What about the business issues involved in freelancing, like where to learn contracts? How much do I charge? How to structure payments? Thank you, Steph. I have a course on that. You can find it down below. Just go to my Studioweb store. There's a course on freelancing, entrepreneurship. It teaches you all that stuff. And I include templates, contract templates. I teach you how to charge properly, how to structure payments, etc. It's all in there. It's $29, you know, cheap. Yeah, that said, so one of the things, if I'm going to give you a tip, one of the things is when you get your first contract, the biggest problem that people have when they're starting a new business, well, when they start freelancing, they don't know how to bid properly. You don't know how to give yourself enough time to complete a particular task. And typically you underbid. So you may look at a project and you go, it's 10 hours of work, and it turns out to be 20. That's, you have to train yourself to be able to bid properly. How do you do that? Well, when you get your first 2 or 3 contracts where you're not there to make money, really you're there to learn the game, you want to track every single thing that you do. The calls you make, the time you spend on the phone, time you spend researching things, gathering requirements, etc. and so on. This is so important that in my freelance training, I provide a template for that, a time tracker template, which maps out everything you need to track to be a successful freelancer. In fact, several people told me just by looking at that template, they learn a lot about freelancing. So yeah, I hope that answers your questions. I think with AI, we have reached the final stage of innovation. Now it's just wait for it to reach its maximum. I think you're going to be disappointed in AI's maturity. I don't think we're going to see Terminator anytime soon. I think it's going to take a long time for that to come around. Reason I say that is because AI, they use intelligence, but it's not really intelligent. AI has no capacity for logical thinking. That's why it does the AI hallucinations. See, we actually think most of the time we think like the AIs think. We'll use the word think in quotes. But the difference between us and AI, we also have that extra level where we can actually deduce and evaluate things through logic. AI doesn't have that capacity. I don't know if it's ever going to have that. Well, I imagine at one point we'll have it. But right now, AI doesn't have the capacity for logic. All that AI does, it makes associations. And based on associations, it discerns reality and comes up with answers. What's interesting, that works a lot of the time. But sometimes it could lead you down these weird paths where you got the AI hallucinating. And because AI doesn't have the capacity for logic, as humans do, it can't catch itself making a mistake, so it hallucinates. We can catch ourselves. That's the difference. So I don't think AI is going to evolve so quickly. Already, it's been 2 years since it launched, and has it really changed so much since it launched? No. It's better. But it's only incrementally better. It will take 10, 15 years, in my opinion, before we see something really huge. Of course, Elon Musk says artificial general intelligence, AGI, will be around within about 2 years. I don't know. I'm not so convinced. But he might know more than me. We shall see. All right, take a breath. If I started a web dev business, should I focus on only developing with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, Node, React, or is it best to off CMS websites? Listen, what's going to happen is the market's going to tell you. You're going to go out there, you're going to be looking for contracts, and you're going to see a lot of web stuff. Not so much React or Node necessarily. A lot of WordPress, some Shopify. So just get your vanilla PHP, get your vanilla HTML, CSS down, JavaScript, learn a smidge of jQuery, just a smidge. Learn a smidge of Bootstrap. What's a smidge? Spend an hour on it, that's it, so you know your way around a little bit. And then go out there and get the jobs. And then let the jobs dictate what it is you're going to learn. A lot of devs now aren't learning the fundamentals. I think we should do an introduction to computer science and learn how to actually solve problems first. Why teach the fundamentals? So that's the focus of my course. In Shopify, how much I learned by doing freelancing. I'm from India. Ashish, I apologize, I can't pronounce your last name. Upadhyay. Sorry, can't pronounce it. Did my best. In Shopify, how much I learned to do freelancing. I'm not sure if I understand your question. Are you saying if you get into Shopify, will it help you become a freelancer? Yes. Hey Trey, how you going, man? How you doing? Old time viewer. Hey Steph, you're doing more live streams. Yeah, I feel like it. I'm doing more live streams. How we doing here? Hey, if you guys, we have 85 viewers. Can you give us some thumbs just to help with the Google algorithms? Would appreciate it. AI isn't what people think of being. Let's try that again. AI isn't what people think of as being AI. It's a glorified chatbot. We used to call the code behind Doom Monsters AI. LLMs are little more than a bunch of if statements. There's a lot of truth to that. Galaxy Stranger and 01. Yeah, it makes all its evaluations based on associations and weighting associations. And that's, so that's it. Yeah. I meant offer. Thank you. No problem. If I meant offer. If I start a web business, should I focus on developing with HTML, or should I offer CMS? I understand your question. The tech at Apprentice. The market will tell you, man. When I started, I was doing web apps. I was doing like Pro CGI, Then I was doing classic ASP, then some PHP. Then I found myself doing 3D stuff. Then I found myself building Java apps. Then I found myself doing some C#.NET stuff all over the place. Then some really weird stuff I was doing. So, What about Azure data engineering freelancing? Very rare. Like you probably see Azure data engineering, you might see that as a contractor, which is different from freelancing. A contractor is somebody who is basically a temporary employee where you are slotted into a position for a limited period of time, but you have to follow their edicts and protocols. Whereas a freelancer, you basically manage the whole thing. You decide when and how you're going to work. You have much more freedom, but you also have much more responsibility. So Azure data engineering, I don't see it too much in the freelance space. I see it in the contractor space. Yo, how you doing? How you doing? AI, which is language-based, can't write a decent poem or short story and rarely an interesting sentence. Yeah, it needs to work off of other people's work, It's based logic. Can AI solve complicated problems? It depends what you define as a problem. Yeah, it depends what you totally define as what the problem is. Let me just jump into here. So I have a Discord channel. It's got about 3,000 people. You can see there's lots of activity on it. Project beat, feedback, career advice, support forums, general tech, all kinds of stuff. So I invite you to join. So who's joined today? November 19th. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4 people join today so far. I invite you to join. Check it out. Links below, Discord channel. So when I'm done my stream, oftentimes people want to continue having a conversation. You can do it on the Discord channel after the stream is done. Highly recommend you check that out. It's free. Yeah. If you don't mind answering, why would you recommend getting into web development over digital marketing? Thanks. Okay, so what career you choose, the first thing you have to assess is what you like to do. What is it you like to do, right? Do you want to become a digital marketer, or do you want to get into web development, or you prefer building systems? It's a totally different career path. There's a little overlap in terms of skills, but it's very minimal. So you have to decide if you want to be a digital marketer or if you want to be a web developer. I think with the digital marketer, it suffers one problem that designers suffer from, or the design field suffers from. The problem when you're just a designer type is that the people hiring designers, unless they're sophisticated people, they don't understand the difference between the junior designer versus the real high-end pro. So it's harder as a designer or a visual artist to make the big money, because it's that distinction between the beginner or the not so talented and the very talented. It takes a kind of a trained eye to see that difference. I don't know if that makes any sense. Whereas the programmer, because the barrier to entry is harder, because the business owner just doesn't understand anything about it, they perceive programmers as more valuable, even juniors. So, so if you get into development, because of that barrier to entry, it's easier to start making bigger money. Whereas with digital marketing, you got 20-year-old or 19-year-old girls with their iPhones shooting, B-roll video and putting it on Instagram and TikTok and stuff. So unless you have a big following, et cetera, and so on, it takes more time to navigate that market. I know friends who have a digital marketing business and they do well, but it's taken them years and years to develop their reputation so they can get the big contracts with the big multinationals and so on. So I hope that makes sense, what I'm saying. What SaaS ideas do you recommend? I can't recommend any SaaS idea in particular because it's about the industry. I think the opportunity for SaaS ideas broadly would be somehow leveraging AI technology, although because it's new, and new environments offer more opportunities, generally speaking. Now, how specifically, how you would do that, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. I graduated December 22, haven't been able to land a job, been doing insurance past few months. You think 2020 should be try to apply again? I want to start tailoring my resume to certain job posts. So that's a good one. Super Jaden. That's great strategy. You want to tailor your resume for the jobs you're going after. So to put it in simple terms, if you're going after a Python Python developer job rather, with Django, emphasize those skills, assuming that you have them. Don't talk about all the other stuff that you did. Relegate that to the back end of the resume. Also, study the companies that you're applying to. Don't just shoot blind. Figure out what they're looking for, who they are. That's very important so you can really tailor things. So and also get your LinkedIn profile up to date. Make sure that's looking pretty damn good. This is very important as well. A big part about getting hired is being able to, you're marketing yourself, you're selling yourself. So you have to work at that. Make sense? When will the tech job market water simmer down? Well, I don't know, man. What do you mean by simmer down? You mean being less volatile? I don't know. 2 days trying to clamp a text in a box with AI on a quiz page. It's good, but not perfect. Yet eyes purple crying. Yeah. Well, you gotta. That's it. I now use ChatGPT every day, but not coding really. I use it for research. It's much faster to get certain answers than Google, but you have to be careful because it does hallucinate. So, but I get, instead of having to read through articles, like I'll point it to, what are the stats today on blah, 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 and I hit enter, I pay for the pro version, and it will go and summarize pieces for me. Once in a while, I'm like, I better check, make sure it's right. And sometimes it hallucinates, but most of the time it's pretty accurate. Stefan, I just left a company where my head of software dev thought they knew more than I did, and it did not end well. I do much better dealing with stakeholders that rely on my expertise. That's it. That's normal. In your career, you're going to leave jobs, get fired from jobs, or you're going to quit jobs. You're going to try different types of companies, different industries. That's cool. That's normal. I've switched up many times. I've had several different businesses. And when I would get bored of a business, I would just shut it down or leave or sell it off, whatever it was, and I would do something else. So like this streaming stuff, this is, I've been doing for years, but it's more of a hobby, but I'm getting more serious with it. I just did a pretty big brand deal recently. And so it's just fun. Life's about trying different things. Thanks very much for answering my question. Will we be able to rewatch the stream? I've just tuned in. Yes, Dan, I leave it on the channel. The stream will be there for you to watch. Working as a part-time software developer at a university using Python, FastAPI, PostgreSQL, React, and Docker, built a web app using 100 plus students, focused on my Stack or Explore WordPress. It depends. I don't. Using Python, working on part-time software developer. Focus on your Stack. Start evaluating the potential business opportunities with your Stack versus WordPress. Think about where your medium-term goals are in terms of software development. That might help play a major role in that decision, if that makes sense. Yeah. So, hey, Stefan, I'm currently UI UX designer. For people new, it's user interface and user experience designer. Would like to transition to front-end developer. Need your advice. Anything I should concern. Thanks. Well, I assume you know your HTML and your CSS3 really well. Get into JavaScript. Concentrate on getting solid understanding of JavaScript fundamentals. Learn them well. Check out my course if you want. It's interactive. And then look around at job opportunities. Probably going to see a lot of React work out there, a lot of some Vue work as well. Take it from there. But I guess the next step, if you don't know it already, is to get into JavaScript, and then I would say probably React, but also start studying the job market so you understand what you need to learn. Stefan, have you come across Bubble? They are the first leading platform right now to use AI for full stack applications. I have not seen what they've done. Do you have material training program on how to utilize AI as a software development tool? No, I don't. I have not covered that yet. I would say just get into ChatGPT. There's others, Gemini, Grok, so on, but get into that. Start working with it, start playing with it, start understanding, start exploring the AI world. I haven't jumped into putting out material on it, like a course or anything, because it's changing so quickly. Like if I could put a lot of time into a course on that now, and then it could be 8 months from now, the whole thing will change. It's hard to say. That's how it is. In the early cycles of new technology, things change quickly. Personal question, outside of helping us devs, what do you do now as a guy stuck at age 169? I have my SaaS product, that's Studioweb. So that still have schools who use that every year. What else do I do investing. When you get to be 169 years old, as long as you're not a moron, you can save a bunch of money. You can start investing. I invest in startups. In the last couple of years, I've invested in a couple of startups. Some I've done well with, some we're still waiting. I had some real estate down in Texas. I got tired of that after 7 years or so. I think it was about 7 years. We sold out of that. And I work on my health. My health is my top priority now. Not that there's anything wrong with me, but when you get to be 169 years old, you got to pay more attention to your health. It's not easy. Big Macs taste good. Thank you for the lives. I like how you take the time to read and answer the questions as diligently as possible. Peace be upon you. Well, thank you very much, Code Clown. I'm glad I'm able to help. Fast API is fast development. I use Flask. Very cool. Flask is a framework for Python. There we go. Hell, even Microsoft is changing their platform every year. Yeah. So that's why it's like I teach the fundamentals, because it's super important. Once you have the fundamentals down in anything, whether it be software development, programming, or HTML, whatever, or martial arts and combat, videography, as you're seeing here, sound, whatever it is, business, it's all about the fundamentals. It's always about the fundamentals. The difference between the best in the game and the average is the best keep drilling the fundamentals. They're masters at the fundamentals. That's the difference. If you want to level up your skill set, get good at the fundamentals. Have a deep understanding of the languages, of a language, or in particular, have a deep understanding of the web stack. If you're going to be full stack developer, really understand HTTP, clients and servers, the request response model, latency, concurrency. I'm not naming programming languages. These are all very important concepts that will separate the really good web developers from the not so good. And everything, like in combat sports, I did combat sports for about 20, 25 years. Timing, tactics, body mechanics. That's what separates the great fighters from the tomato cans. It's all about the fundamentals. I could go on business too. What would you have pursued if it wasn't tech? Well, I did pursue other stuff, right? I had a rare fish import-export business. I used to supply rare live fish to public aquariums and zoos, to pet shops, to private collectors. I had water purification products I used to distribute. We've built commercial central systems. I've been bouncing around different areas of tech, whether, everything from web app development to providing SaaSes, doing DVD authoring even, all kinds of different things. So, and now I'm doing this, I'm doing the influencer thing, It wasn't my intention, I just kind of fell into it. And I'm putting the pedal down on that a little bit more because it's just something I want to do. If I hadn't gotten sick, because I got pretty damn sick, almost got killed when I was 19 due to blood disorder. I was training to become a professional fighter. Yeah, I would have, if I hadn't gotten sick, I would have been a professional fighter. And right now I'd probably be punch drunk. So it's probably a good thing that I never got to do that. What do you recommend to freelance in Quebec and Montreal? It's the same everywhere. You're going to see a lot of web app opportunities, a lot of WordPress opportunities. What are the fundamentals as a software developer? I just talked about it. Just understanding the basic constructs of software development, arrays and functions and so on, how code is processed, object orientation versus procedural, understand the difference between procedural, OOP, and functional programming. You don't have to be an expert in all of them, just understand them, understand the nuances of software development, why OOP was invented, how it should be used properly, when to use it properly, understand refactoring, understand basic design patterns. These are principles, and these are principles that are fundamental to all the modern languages, and they provide fundamental technique, if you will, for creating really solid software. What are fundamental? Okay, that's what I need. Teach us some BJJ so we can deal with our supervisors. Oh, yeah. I'll leave you with this story. I remember once I was 17 years old. I think I was 17. So I get a job working at a big fish distributor. And at the time, I was, this is not fish for food, but fish for pet stores. It was a real stinky, stanky job. But anyway, I liked it. And I remember I was in the lunchroom, and one of the managers heard that I did martial arts, and I've been doing martial arts for several, I was 17, so 7 years at that point. And I was very religious about my martial arts, and I did a lot of combat sports. And one of the managers insulted martial arts. Nah, that stuff doesn't work. I said, oh yeah? And I proceeded to start throwing him around the office. Not hurting him, just embarrassing him, put him on the ground, put him on a lock. I didn't care. It was just a job picking fish, But yeah, that's how I was back in those days. I would not advise it. I would not advise it. Back in those days, you could do that kind of things and they wouldn't call the cops. These days, if you say the wrong things, you can get the cops after you. So no violence. I recommend now that if people piss you off, just leave. The risk is too high. Is development fields works well for persons over 48 years old, or is it a field for young and hip persons? No, there's plenty of people. I have good friends of mine, they're in their mid-50s who are still software developers. Yeah, it depends what your background is. If you're coming into it after living in your basement for 40 years, chances you getting a job at a corporation are going to be less. But let's say you're an accountant or you're in management and you're pivoting into software, then you have you can parlay both that work experience with the new software skills into something, or you can get into freelance where it doesn't really matter what your background is. That's the beautiful thing about freelance. You could have been living in your mother's basement for 35 years playing Call of Duty and Pac-Man, and then come out, and as long as you have a good portfolio, you can communicate well, you can start freelancing. That's the beautiful thing about it. Watching you live from Ghana. Cool. Code long and profit. Do I need OOP for JS? Probably not. You might, but probably not. It depends. It depends, unless you're doing back end. Front end, back end, yeah, I would imagine so. Do you have advice for a person who is 126? Yeah, well, my advice for everybody, especially as you get older, is you got to concentrate more on, you got to make sure your health is tip-top. Make sure you're eating healthy foods, drinking a lot of water, exercising daily. It's going to help you with your energy levels. It's going to help you with your cognitive capabilities. And it's going to prevent a lot of illness. Remember, 80% of the people who are under medical treatment, 80%, and at least the West, I don't know about Ghana, but the reason they are in the hospital is because it's because of something called metabolic disorder, which is a scientific name for you don't eat well, you don't exercise enough, and you're probably fat. 80% of reasons people need medical care in the West is because those three reasons. They don't exercise enough, they don't eat well, and they eat bad food. If you change those three things, gradually, slowly, you're going to reduce the chances you're going to be in the hospital or have to take medication by a huge percentage. So my advice for the 126-year-old is to get healthy, number one. Number two, make sure you're saving. One of the things I talk about all the time, I used to say, if my bank account is not growing every month, you got to go into red alert. Like once you get past your 20s, you got to start saving, right? Heavy duty. The earlier the better, but once you get into your 30s, buddy, it's time to start saving and investing like crazy. You want to get that first, $200,000, $250,000 in the bank invested, making you interest, because then it starts to grow on its own. Then you don't have to. Then you can almost go on. You can just leave it on. What's the word I'm looking for? Let it go on its own, automatic and co-pilot. Then autopilot, there we go. So you want to work really hard, especially when you get into your 30s and older, to start saving and investing like crazy, so that when you get to be my age, you don't have to worry about cash. You can do what you want. The reason I'm able to do this is because I was smart about my spending when I was younger. It's never too late to change careers. No. In fact, look at Elon Musk, richest man in the world. He's in his 50s. He's still working hard. He still works harder than all of us. Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett is like 90-something years old. He still works, you know. Trump, you may hate him, but he's 77. He's working like a dog, you know. Do you have book recommendations for topics like design patterns or software architectures? No, I would just do an Amazon search. I don't know what the latest ones. I would recommend this book for refactoring. I recommend learning to refactor. This is the Java version. There's links below for the JavaScript version as well. Refactoring is one of those key skill sets, but I highly recommend. What's your opinion on Go? I haven't used it, so I don't have an opinion. I think it's a niche language. Learn it. I have two categories of technologies: must learn fundamentals and need to nerd. I would put Go into need to nerd. It's not disparaging it, but I think it's kind of a specialized language. So look around, see what the job opportunities are before you start jumping into it. Hey, Steph, getting back into web dev. Cool. Building up my new WordPress stack with WordPress Advanced Custom Fields, Tailwind, a plugin that includes all common content for a site. Have my first new client. Excited. Hey, man. Congratulations, Commander Roberto. That's cool. Very cool. I've written my on JS front-end libraries and wouldn't write them without OOP. Yep. If you're going to be writing libraries, then you want to write OOP. But, you know, a lot of JavaScript code could be much simpler than that in terms of requirements, you know. I default to OOP personally, like most of the time. But depends on the complexity. All right, guys. Very cool. I've been over an hour. That's it for tonight's stream. If you do like the stream, give me a thumbs up. I appreciate it. If you have any questions about what I was discussing in the stream, you can put it under. I check them out a couple of days later. I may be able to answer those questions for you. And don't forget to check out the Discord server right here. There's links below. Pretty active server. I think we got 3,000 members or so. So check that out. And what's the last question here? Last question of the night, then I'm going to let you go. Is deprecated code a bad thing? No, what I found, so there's, after a certain period of time in certain languages, and they will do something called deprecation. And what deprecation is, they're saying this code here will eventually, this part of the language, this code here will eventually be removed from the language. You see it in Java, you see it, I'm sure, in C# and PHP. By my experience, it's very rare that they ever remove or stop supporting deprecated code altogether. Very rare. It happens, but it's very rare. So if they newly deprecate something in a language that you're using, don't have kittens and panic that you're going to have to change it the next day. It might take 5-10 years before it gets removed, unless they say otherwise. But if they say this code is deprecated, that means in 5-10 years they may remove it. So I wouldn't be so concerned about that. Yeah. So would I implement deprecated code? No, if it's deprecated, then do the new stuff. But if you have a code base and you've implemented deprecated code, I'm not panicking to go change it, right away. So anyway, there you go, guys. Thanks for watching. Appreciate the thumbs. And I'll leave you with my ASMR video, which I always leave off with. All right, we'll talk soon.